Roger Federer to serve first, world number 1. Up against world number 83, Bjorn Phau. He's been around a long time. We've seen Federer a lot more aggressive over the last 12 months. Something that he's recognised, that's how he has to play. Not so much in the early rounds, but more importantly, the back end of events. We saw him do it so well, executed. Executed brilliantly against Andy Murray in the Wimbledon final.
15.
Did it pretty well also 2 weeks ago in Cincinnati against Novak Djokovic in that final.
Josh, there was a couple of years there after Federer parted ways with Tony Roach when I commentated a lot of his finals, those Wimbledon finals and French Open finals against Nadal, and he just wasn't coming to the net at all, virtually at all. And I would make some comments, and I had some viewers tweet and text and email saying, you're very negative on Roger Federer, but for me it was almost frustrating watching him because I felt like he was operating on just a few cylinders. There was so much more to his game that he really didn't explore for a number of years. Then he hooked up with Paul Annacone, who was a super aggressive player. He just came in on everything, chip charged, off return, served and volleyed, and I really believe Annacone can take some credit for this resurgence in Federer's all-court game. He's using everything available to him now, which is great to see. And that's fine. That's fine. Okay, didn't execute it as he would have liked. Go back to the Wimbledon final, taking on Andy Murray. He's in all sorts of trouble. He's down a set. It's 5-all in the second. He's being outplayed. Federer played 2 points at the net that were absolutely sensational. One forehand drop volley followed by a backhand volley that basically cracked the match open. But to play that one moment of genius, you have to practice it for a long period of time. And thankfully, with Annacone, he has been doing it in the smaller events as well. It's not just a tap that you can turn on in a major final.
Manages to hold. Opening service game, Roger Federer.
First game.
These guys good friends off the court as well. Similar age. Federer 31, Bjorn Phau 32. One of the better movers in men's tennis is Bjorn Phau. Hasn't won back-to-back tour-level matches too often this year. Actually had success early in the year on the clay courts, more so in challenges. From Cologne in Germany.
couple of single-handed backhands on display. You don't see that too often in the modern game, and that's another thing I think Federer has done well. Over the last year and a half, he's used a lot more variety off that backhand side. He hasn't allowed himself just to be engaged in baseline rallies with some of these heavy-hitting ground strokers. He's mixed it up. He's used the slice effectively. He's played a drop shot. He's changed the pattern. Phau will appreciate that, getting on the board early in this match. A player that has really moved in and out of the ATP Tour, made his way back to the Challenger circuit, amassed enough points to get inside the top 100 and get in these bigger events. Hasn't really been a regular on the tour, so to walk into Arthur Ashe Stadium for a night match is not something that he's accustomed to. Good wheels from Phau, all to no avail. And good to see Federer coming in already. Just a couple of games old, he's been to the net 5 times. Just got so much elastic energy, Federer. He's got this incredibly lively arm, and then he accelerates the wrist on impact.
Love service game for Roger Federer. Good start. World number 1 Roger Federer leads 2-1 first set. Enormous stadium, isn't it? Arthur Ashe. People still waiting to get on in. The night session here.
Time.
All the sights and sounds around New York. It's a bustling city. Just near LaGuardia Airport we are. You can see one of the planes taking off. They used to actually fly, the flight path used to be straight over this stadium. They've had it moved for the US Open. The planes fly around.
That initiative started with Mayor David Dinkins, who was a tennis fan, used to attend the tennis pretty regularly. I think he didn't enjoy the jet engines. He was the man that had it all changed, and it's remained that way ever since.
Forehand side's weaker for Bjorn Phau. That is the side that I imagine we'll see Federer try and target as the match goes on. Maybe a few slice backhands to try and change up the pace, or just force Bjorn Phau to generate his own pace on it. He's come out hitting it well beyond Phau. He's staying up on the baseline well. I think out of all the top guys, Bjorn Phau's quite happy he's playing Roger Federer. They are friends off the court, and it probably makes the occasion a bit easier. Whereas if he's to come out here against a Novak Djokovic or a Rafa Nadal, it could be that much harder. I think he feels fairly comfortable in Roger's presence.
That's what you're talking about, just targeting the forehand. So you think Rog might have said in the locker room, listen, Bjorn, just stay with me, mate. I'll cover you on this one.
No, I just
I'll drag you through.
I just don't think he's overawed by Federer, where you see a lot of people, have to come out here in the night session under the lights in this enormous stadium, and maybe just the occasion beats them. Again, that's the side, isn't it?
I can't tell you how many people asked me after Murray beat Federer at the Olympics that they said, did Roger give it to him? As if I couldn't believe that the general public really felt that Federer had gifted Murray that Olympic gold medal. Kept assuring them that wasn't the case. He was just a little exhausted after his semi-final.
And he was outplayed.
And Murray nearly outplayed him in the Wimbledon final, let's not forget.
Yeah, Murray played
Challenging?
beautiful.
Phau is challenging the call on the left service line. The ball was called out.
So break point here, he's challenging on his first serve. And it's long. So in second serve, break point, does Federer look to get around and rip a forehand? And he doesn't have to. So Roger Federer with the opening break of the match, 3-1.
But that mistake right there it's for the very fact that you said Federer, of course, has got this great presence. He's looking for a forehand. Phau feels like he's got to get a little something extra on that second serve. Gets a leading edge.
Lovely. Phau is challenging the ball on the left far sideline. The ball was called out. Phau has one challenge remaining.
Federer, as he so often does, just cleans up the situation with a well-placed first serve. He has the second best serve I've ever witnessed, Roger Federer.
I'm presuming behind Pete Sampras.
I'll give Sampras the nod. Federer second. Federer, you can see, even though he didn't win that point, and we spoke about the fact that for a number of years, he was really
13-14.
content just to rally with players from the back of the court with his backhand. And it was really noticeable in Cincinnati against Djokovic. He was very keen, very determined to run around that backhand. He didn't want to hit too many consecutive backhands. And once again tonight, doing the same.
I actually think his backhand's improved. That's the one area of his game that in the last 12 months he's hitting it a lot better. I mean, I know he's been forced to because that's where the players are targeting. But he just seems to be getting more pop on the ball. He's got a more aggressive mindset, so his feet are in position. They're moving to it better.
Great to watch. It's a part of the game that I personally really enjoy. It's been missing for a number of years, but it's making a comeback. We saw Andy Murray last night moving forward fairly consistently. And why wouldn't you when you can do it this well?
Saves your body, doesn't it? The wear and tear, the jarring. Quite traditional, aren't you, Wally?
Well, we're never going to see serve volley tennis again, and that's fine because the guys are just too good from the back of the court. But it's definitely an area of the game that was almost neglected. It's such an effective play, and given just how good guys' ground shots are now, they're really just taking advantage of those ground shots. Not a bad shot right there from Rog, as you suggested. Backhand has improved. A little bit of confidence helps.
I just like the way he takes it on. He got into a habit of chipping, I think, too much because he's got a world-class slice, the best slice in the game. And the guys can just can hit that, push him around with it. So Federer saves a break point and holds serve. World number one leads 4-1 first set.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, what do you want to hear tonight at the U.S. Open?
All right, this is Andy Roddick after he's announced the retirement, coming back to the locker room. It'll be big news. There's Ryan Harrison, his good buddy on the right. Grant Doyle, former Australian player, coach of Ryan Harrison in the red. They all live in Texas together. Also, lots of other good friends wishing him all the best. As he ducks for cover into the locker room, that's the place to be.
It was a bombshell, wasn't it?
It was a bombshell.
It's really added a dimension to this year's US Open. Obviously, we knew about Clijsters coming in, but this is big news. He's been a major star for the last decade, Andy Roddick.
So there it is. It's tomorrow night, men's second round here on Arthur Ashe Stadium. That'll be 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday morning in Australia, when Andy Roddick, as the 20th seed, takes on Bernard Tomic. You got to like the fact that Roddick, he's going out on his own terms, still ranked 20, still with a couple of titles to his name this year. And interestingly, he said he didn't want to be one of those players that's just sort of hanging around and not contending.
That's right, he wants to contend for major titles. Of course, we've got Andy Roddick and Tomic in the evening, but leading up to that, Stosur will be kicking off proceedings. Sam Stosur against Varvara Lepchenko. Not to mention Leighton Hewitt taking on Gilles Muller. So it's really Australia Day here at the US Open.
touch from Rog. Again, pushing forward. You know, when he worked with Roger Federer, when Roger Federer worked with Tony Rocha, a lot of their practice sessions were built around the net. Just trying to work on him sticking his volley, getting more power on the volley. And we didn't see it in the last few years, so it's good to see him coming up to the net more often. And again, seeing more and more of it from Federer.
15-14.
How does Bjorn Phau serve at 127 miles an hour?
He's got good knee bend, good leg drive.
There's nothing of him.
No, he was coming out of juniors. Boris Becker in Germany, obviously a hero and an icon, set up a post-junior program that Bjorn Phau was part of. There's a change-up, just a nice subtle change-up. Gives Bjorn Phau very little pace to work with.
And Federer, because he has come to the net so often already in this match, Phau has that implied threat. So anytime Federer hits a ball deep, Phau is thinking, is he coming? Is he coming? It's a distraction. Federer's been to the net already 11 times, 8 and 11 strike rate. There's been Wimbledon finals when he's come to the net about 11 times. And that to me was frustrating, but now he's firing on all cylinders, Federer.
Is he your favourite player, Roger Federer?
He's the best I've ever seen.
Or is it still Rafa, your favourite?
Federer's latest effort to win another major and get back to number one, that's just too good. His record it's unbeatable, in my opinion.
So you don't think anyone will get 17 Grand Slams?
I really don't. Let alone his record in making consecutive Grand Slam semi-finals and just his overall consistency.
32, I think.
Yeah.
Makes a meal of it. Bjorn Phau holds serve, gets out a bit of trouble. 4-2 Federer leads. I think it's 32 consecutive quarterfinals or better.
Yeah, it's just outrageous. And it's so far ahead of any other great player, it's not even funny. As Roger, I think the fact that he's playing a friend is not that easy for him tonight. He's not quite as fired up as we see him in night sessions here on Arthur Ashe. As you mentioned, good buddies. They've been on the tour.
15.
Their careers have coincided. But I tell you, I'm just amazed at Nadal's effort. It's hard to... We called that final last year against Novak Djokovic, and
I think he's actually even surprising Bjorn Phau with how many times he's serving and bowling and coming to the net.
40 love.
He's seeing it well tonight, Roger Federer, world number one.
New ball
In a
scores.
commanding position, leads 5 games to 2, first set.
Federer leads 5 games to 2.
So Bjorn Phau just sits down, soaks up the atmosphere while Roger Federer puts on a clinic out here. He's moving with great intensity, confidence is up. It's as good as I think we've seen him in some time, Roger Federer. And we must remember, he was very unlucky the last 2 US Opens. He had match points to Novak Djokovic in the last 2 campaigns, semi-finals. People, I think we forget about that. I mean, I don't think he would have beaten Nadal in those finals, but as we see, a great shot there of this enormous stadium.
We were just talking the previous game, the differences between Nadal and Federer, and it's just been so good to have them at the top of the game. You've got the lefty, the righty. They're both gentlemen on and off the court, there's no doubt about that, but there's so much contrast in the way they go about their business. And Federer, it's very hard to relate to what he does on a tennis court. It's almost...
Well, his imagination is out of this world, isn't it? Like what his creativity and his options.
Just his talent, just the vast array of shots that he has. It's almost hard to imagine how you could have full command of all of the shots that he does. And then you watch Nadal and you just see that bull-like approach to the game. I mean, there's a little indication right there of Federer's incredible control on the lob. He's got the awareness to follow it in. Just turned that point on its head within a matter of 2 shots. But we really have been lucky to have those 2 men at the top of the game over the last 6 or 7 years. Ball boy took a tumble. He's okay. He's down. That's the gentleman. He went down. He's lost a bit of bark off the elbow too. The adrenaline will be pumping though. He won't feel that.
They're all ages here, aren't they? The ball.
There he goes. Look, just a step. That would have hurt.
Thank you.
Phau's quick, but he's just using his speed defensively, and with each shot in the rally he's getting pushed further and further back, so it's a real case of diminishing returns in the rally. Federer now with a set point.
So Roger Federer takes the opening set. Not too many problems tonight for the world number one. Off to a great start. Takes it 6 games to 2. All right, Roger, you're courtside. How's the vibe? Roger Federer certainly hitting him sweetly.
Yeah, look, there's no doubt about that. The conditions here are really pure. It's got some warmth in it still. There's nice warmth, comfortable air out here, so the ball's holding a little bit. But Roger's, the two things I love about Roger at the moment here is his movement, firstly, has been exceptional. The way he's been out at the fast shuffle has been outstanding. And the second thing is his flight path of the ball is the one thing that I've really enjoyed more. Every shot he's played tonight so far down here on courtside, his flight path has been outstanding.
Roger, we were just discussing how Federer, ever since Annacone has been in his corner, he very rarely does he hit 2 or 3 backhands in a row. He's just changing that pattern so well, and he's doing that again tonight.
Yeah, that's right. He's seeing the ball early and deciding that he's got to make a legitimate effort to actually make the point his own. So instead of that ball that comes across to his backhand, instead of just sort of sitting and waiting and then using his tools from there, he's saying use your feet and then get very proactive with the forehand. And that is, you're right, that's all Paul Annacone. He's saying be more aggressive, have a little bit more fear, create a bit more fear up the other end as well. And I think that's one thing that he's been doing.
And Roger, certainly from the commentary box here, it really appears that Roger Federer is really hitting that ball hard. How is it courtside there?
I couldn't hear that, boys.
Rog, from the commentary box, it really looks like Federer is stepping it up. He's really cranking it hard. How is it courtside? How hard is he actually hitting it?
Oh, look, he's hitting the ball pretty firm. There's no doubt about that. But not only is it firm, the flight and the actual spin off and bounce off the court allows him to get another metre in movement because it pushes away from the opposition. So it's been an excellent display in the first set.
All right, mate. Good stuff. We'll look forward to your insights as we get further into this match, but at the moment it's Roger Federer to serve. He's taken the first set 6-2 and serving first, second set.
The point Roger makes about the Federer forehand, I mean, it's hit with a lot of pace and a deceptive amount of spin, so when it hits the court it just takes off. So that's why Phau is having to retreat in an effort to try to get behind the ball. If you hug the baseline, you're not going to have time.
He gets it on the top of the bounce too. He's very good at taking time away. No problems for Federer, opening game. Holds to love.
First game, second set.
Bjorn Phau probably doesn't feel like he's actually hitting it that bad out here. Just a dominant display from Federer. Set one summary, it's all good there for Feds.
That's the part I like. Well, 73% of first serves, he's always up above 65. That's what makes his serve just so great, the consistency and the accuracy of it. 3 aces, no double faults, 13 winners to 6 unforced errors. That's pretty handy. And into the net 16 times, winning 11 of those points. Andy Roddick made the comment in his press conference that he said these guys are just getting so good out here. He feels like he's beyond the stage where he can compete with the very best players in the world, and obviously Federer, Djokovic, Nadal and Murray are the players that he's referring to. That'll feel good. Phau able to push Federer around on a point, 40 love. It's interesting the way that those top 4 guys have pushed each other. Of course, Federer was the benchmark for so long, and they were all chasing him. And then, of course, Nadal seemed to have his number, and then Djokovic put his hand up. Andy Murray now is making his move. He's improved since Lenwell joined him.
14.
So the 4 of them have really been good for each other in a way, and really good for tennis. brought out the best in themselves.
Third double fault of the match for Bjorn Phau. He's serving at 53%, Federer up there at 73, so that's a massive difference.
Out. Game.
So Bjorn Phau holds, no challenge from Federer.
Second.
1-1, second set.
Lovely.
It's just, it was the intent to come forward is so great now. It actually is improving his shots because the body weight is travelling right through the ball. So Federer's made up his mind where he's going. And the body weight is just travelling in the direction of the target.
Ace number 7 for Roger Federer. And he leads 2-1.
Federer
First
leads 2-1, second set. And by 1 set to love.
Backhand.
Wally, what do you think? Roger Federer, Gasquet, Almagro, Wawrinka, Kohlschreiber.
You can play along and answer hashtag Fox Tennis.
It's got to be 7 or 8, doesn't it? In the top 50.
If you get this right, you get a private tennis lesson from Wally Masur on how to hit the single-handed backhand.
And if you get it wrong, you get one with Josh Eagle
how to hit
on how to play the double-hander. I can't even imagine how you could hit a double-handed backhand. It just seems really foreign.
So how many players in the top 50 have a single-hander? That is the trivia question here at Fox Sports. Send us your answers. Twitter. Hashtag Fox Tennis. We speak about Federer's got so many great attributes, but something that's not spoken about so often is his return. Now, I know he just missed that one, but wow, does he have a great return and the ability to get himself into points. One of the few players that can really play with a neutral grip and just block the ball back. Nadal's made an effort over the years to improve that aspect of his game, the block return. Djokovic doesn't have to block returns. He's just got such an incredible eye.
40-15.
Well done, Phau. Finishes a point at the net. That hasn't happened too often tonight.
2 games all.
Levels
Second
things
set.
up at 2-all. Nice volley at full stretch.
Love.
Around the post, around the net post, that backhand from Bjorn Phau.
How was the angle on Federer's forehand? I thought he'd really tied himself up in knots here, but you talk about the creativity. He gets that to land inside the service square, and you're right, that went between the umpire's chair and the net post. Federer serving another ace. That's his 8th for the evening. And the thing that I love about Federer's serve is it's so close.
It's in.
Just long, I think.
Oh.
Good scrambling from Phau, though. He is quick. Just making Federer play a couple more shots there at the net. But Federer's serve, he doesn't drop it short. It's always got such great depth. There it is again.
He's just crushing it out here, Roger Federer. 3-2 lead, second set. As the first, 6 games to 2. So Roger Federer resting comfortably here at the change of ends. He's up a set 6-2, leads 3-2 on serve in the second set. We've had a few tweets, a few replies to the trivia question we have here at Fox Sports. How many players in the top 50 have a single-handed backhand? We've had guesses from 3, 6, 8. But you're close, but not correct. Very important you get it correct so you can get that lesson on how to hit a single-hander from Wally Mercer. Anyone who gets it right.
Well, those 3 get the double-handed lesson from you. You'll be a busy boy.
Busy enough as it is.
Josh, I want to pose this question to you. I know you're a student of the game. 32 seeds in the men's draw. Is it too many? Should they go back to 16 seeds? And the reason I say it is we get a lot of matches like this in the first week where the top players, we're really just assessing their form. They're not being necessarily pushed. No disrespect to Phau, no disrespect to Dodig last night. But if you only seeded 16, for example, you would have the likes of Wawrinka, you would have Verdasco, you would have players like that are floaters, and the top players could run into them in the first or second round. So it really is a situation, I think, that would provide Kai Nishikori, for example, Philip Kohlschreiber, Andy Roddick seeded 20. You could potentially have Federer Roddick in the first round. Is that bad for the game, or would that add an element to the tournament in the first, say, 3 rounds, the first week? You don't have to answer me.
I'm not.
Give it some thought.
I think it was done, as Federer brings up 3 break points here, it was implemented more so by the tournament. They were pushing for it at the tournaments. They wanted it to protect for the television rights, for the crowds, so they were pretty much certain or hopeful that they'd get the big names come finals time. So I understand why they have it from that point of view. But I think tennis being cyclical, I think at the moment we're seeing the top guys so dominant, and we're not seeing many upsets like this, say second or third round. But I think if you wind the clock back maybe 10 years ago, you would see more upsets. So I actually would like to see it back to 16. I think it's better for the game. I don't see why not.
I think too, the potential for a top player, because always once they get their teeth into the tournament, they're used to the conditions and they get their confidence up, they're really hard to beat. But if you can beat them, the best chance is in the early rounds, but that's less and less likely with 32 seeds. There's the break. Federer now has a 4-2 lead in the second set. Been on court for 51 minutes. Really quite routine thus far for Roger Federer. Federer service profile, 8 aces, no double faults. When he gets his first serve in, he wins 79% of the points. Well done, Phau. He's quick, no doubt about that. Roger would probably like that drop volley over again. That one.
Love 15.
Didn't quite stick it, and from then on he was defending. He's actually controlled that, and he's just clipped the tape, Federer. To think that he knew where he was directing that shot. Just watch this. Once again, a little bit casual with the drop volley, but have a look at this. He has got an idea of what he wants to achieve here, and barely misses. That's extraordinary. Love 30.
15, 30.
He just so rarely loses serve, and by doing that, he just builds an enormous amount of pressure.
He's in every match, isn't he? Even when he's not playing well, his serve just 4 or 5 all keeps him in it. And then somewhere he'll find his form.
As quickly as that, back to 30 all, just blink of an eye.
And he just serves to all parts of the court. We may not see it in this camera shot, but what I love about the Federer serve is the setup, the stance. Feet are shoulder width apart. They don't move. He just sinks into the ground, explodes up into the ball. Could not be simpler.
Having a good night serving, isn't he, Roger Federer? 73% of first serves in. He's not going to lose to anyone. Certainly not to too many if he can serve at those stats for a best of 5 set match. Gets out of trouble. Roger Federer. 6-2, 5-2 lead. Second round. Louis Armstrong Stadium, where James Blake is at match point now over Granollers, and we were showing you that a little bit earlier, and he's managed to get the job done. So James Blake, in potentially his last US Open as well, I think. He's through in 3 very comfortable sets. 6-1, 6-4, 6-2.
That's a great win.
That's a smashing. Absolute
To beat
smashing.
Granollers is one thing, but to beat him by that scoreline, great tennis from Blake. Americans having a good day.
Yeah, they really are. So James Blake through to the third round. He's barely won matches this season. He's up against Milos Raonic from Canada. Next up.
That's actually the ball Rogers had the most trouble with tonight, is just the heavy deep one up the middle of the court.
Well, remember a couple of years back, he used to miss-hit the forehand. He used to shank the forehand, and I think that was due to the feet. I think his footwork's better as well. I know it comes with confidence.
I actually think too, when he was working with Tony Roach, I witnessed them training, and Roach, his great forte as a coach is he just trains his players he hones them to a fine edge. He just works so hard with his players on the practice court. When Federer was just travelling with Severin Luthi and he was really running his own show, I used to go and watch him practice. Don't see Federer slide too much on the hard courts. He was forced to after that good drop shot. But I used to go and watch Federer practice the day before the French Open, for example. I just couldn't believe how casual he was. And I think with as great as he is, his practice sessions, there's Merker and Paul Annacone on the right of screen there. Adopted the Ivan Lendl pose. I just don't think his training was as intense as it had been and as intense as it needed to be. But I think with Annacone, it's back. So he's tightened the screws of his game. It's a shame. That was a majestic point from Federer. Would have been nice to finish it off at the net. But Josh, I literally would watch Nadal train the day before the French or the day before the Wimbledon final, watch Federer train. And I used to walk away thinking there can only be one winner because it was just chalk and cheese the way the two men were going about their business. But as I said, I think two heads are better than one.
I think he was just so much better than everyone for such a long time. And then along came Rafa and he's forced him to lift. Throw in Novak as well.
Great shot there. That's not easy for a single-hander. He almost ripped that from behind his hip. Great timing there from Phau. But obviously, when you're on the court with Tony Roach, I mean, he just demands so much of his players physically. He just works his players into a lather. And, of course, if you train harder than any match you're going to encounter, that's a good start. And that's certainly what Roger did for 4 years under Tony Roach. Approaching up the middle, it's not a bad play, no angle for Phau. We saw him with a little bit of angle on the backhand on the previous point, and that was denied him with that approach. Of course, we've got a pretty high camera angle here too, and Roger Rashid made the comment that he's playing with a fair bit of margin on the forehand, and that margin buys you time to get to the net.
Don't often see Federer miss smashes. Very, very rarely. Right, 15-30, so a chance now for Phau. He's had love 30 on the last service game of Roger Federer.
I think the hardest thing for Roger here this evening is just to keep concentrating and really stay focused on the task at hand. There's that serve again. Love 30 in the previous game, just served his way out of that situation. 15-30, comes up with an ace. Doesn't even have to contest the big points. Would have been an incredible shot if it went in.
Airborne.
Just launched himself into that.
It's almost the scissor kick
Yeah.
Peter Quarter backhand
That was impressive.
back in the day.
Game and second set.
No problems for Roger Federer. Again, digs his way out of a little bit of trouble.
By 6 games to
And
3.
now, just on the hour mark, Roger Federer
Federer
leads
leads
2 sets to love.
love.
6-2, 6-3 over Bjorn Phau. All right, Roger, you're courtside. It's impressive, isn't it, watching the world number one at work?
Oh, look, it's always a privilege, if you're in the coaching box going against him, or if you're on the side of the court doing what we're doing here. And look, the exciting thing for me, if I put my coach's cap on, look at Roger Federer so far in this match, and the pleasing thing, when he's been behind on serve and he's been in a little bit of difficulty, I look very closely and precise about how he deals with those points individually and how he structures them to get out of trouble and put himself on level terms, and he's been very good at that tonight.
What about the Federer serve? We really noticed it. He was, I think, just struggling a bit for concentration to stay focused in that set. Got down a couple of times on his serve, and then, what do you know, bang, just comes up with a big serve when he most needed it.
Yeah, look, and you know why? While obviously he's a superstar and he's a great player, but he's so relaxed under those conditions. He doesn't get there and tense up, and his swing's so natural, his body's moving pretty fluently, so there's never a lot of tension in his body when he goes up to serve for those matches and those moments. And that's another good thing. Look, you talk about, I heard you guys talking about the seeds and the 32 seeds. I agree with you, Wally, it should be 16. We're missing out on these really close clashes early in the tournament. But in saying that here, so far at the US Open, we're leading into the second rounds, and we've had 10 5-set matches in the men's. Pretty exciting stuff. One unique thing about them all, boys, they've all come back from 2 sets to love. Now, tell me the last time that's ever happened.
Can't tell you that answer. I haven't got that information in front of me. Gee, what do you think I am, Wikipedia or something? But Rog, seriously, what has Bjorn Phau got to do if he is to take it to 5? We're talking of 5-set matches. Can he even win a set?
Look, he's got to get a red nose on and turn into a clown and just create some havoc, because I don't think he can do much else. He's just got to go for it. Let him go for it.
All right, thanks, Rog. We'll check back with you a little bit later. It'll be Bjorn Phau to serve first, third set. I get the feeling Roger Rashid is enjoying his courtside seat there. He gets to watch Roger Federer in action.
Best seat in the house,
Yeah,
isn't it? He's
definitely
absolutely courtside. He's basically in the photographer's pit. And he had to put his coach's cap on a few times.
I don't know why.
When he was working with Leighton Hewitt. And they took on Federer once in a US Open final, and pretty daunting task to try to formulate a game plan to break down the Swiss maestro. One time in that US Open final, I think Leighton attacked the net 56 times, which was completely out of the box, and it was not the way that he approached his tennis as a rule, but they really felt like they had to shake it up and try to do something slightly different. It was competitive, but Federer still found a way.
So quickly, Federer, 15-40. And also, Wally, in recent, probably the last year, he's a lot better at getting on with the job and sort of, this score is 6-2, 6-3. There's no dips. I think he does that a little bit better as well.
But once again, I think it comes back to the coach. There's a bit of accountability there with Paul Annacone in the stands. I really think at this level, you need a coach. Two heads are better than one, if you believe in the coach. The coach won't. If you respect the coach, he won't accept a dip. He wants a good performance.
So breaks first game, third set. Looks good tonight, Roger Federer. He was always going to be a firm favourite in this one. And 1-love, so set 2 summary. Good serving again from Federer, up at 62%. Phau at 52. The unforced error is quite low. And the winners increasing there for Federer, 13.
Good numbers again. Phau, he's not playing poorly, but he's just a bit of a passenger. He just doesn't quite have the firepower. But, you know, getting back to this coaching thing, I think Roger would drift in and out of matches a little bit because he wasn't really accountable to anyone but himself. And Severin Luthi is a great mate, and he's a good tennis brain and a good man. He's the Swiss Davis Cup captain, and he's always been in Roger's corner. But he was more a guy to run interference for Roger, whereas Paul Annacone and Tony Roach are players that can help him maximise everything that he's got and win Grand Slam titles, which is really what he should be doing. Serving display from Federer. There's Dad. He's a character. Saw him about 15 minutes before an Australian Open final one year when his son was playing, and he was basically out watching Jimmy Barnes in Garden Square, just enjoying himself. Phau will take it. He needs a bit of help.
30. Game Federer leads 2 games to love. Third set.
Shot there of Team Federer. Merker in the front. Tony Godsick, the agent, sitting next to Merker. Great stuff from Federer.
He just floats around the court, doesn't he, Federer?
Love 15.
Very agile. Reads the play so well.
Had a tweet, Wally, from Samuel Ogg, wanting to know whether Federer is having a great day serving or is Bjorn Phau having an off day?
No, Federer's having a great day serving, but this is the thing. Most days are a great day serving for Federer. It never goes off. This serve never goes away. It's always incredibly consistent and accurate. It's the perfect service motion. Not much can go wrong. And as Roger Rashid said, courtside there in the after that second set, he doesn't carry tension in his body when he's facing a big point. He's pretty relaxed, which certainly helps. So he can just replicate that serve over and over again. And we talk about great servers as we look at Mr. Federer. He's got a wry smile on his face. I don't think there's too much tension in the Federer camp. It's not just about the first serve, it's about the quality of the second serve. And that's why I give he and Sampras the nod. I mean, there's been a lot of great servers. Goran Ivanisevic had an incredible serve. But nobody can serve second serves like Sampras and Federer.
Merker Vavrinec. She used to be a player. Used to be a top 100 player herself in the day.
Isn't that how they met at Hopman Cup? Played
The Olympics.
Hopman Cup together, was it? Or?
Sydney Olympics.
Right.
That's where their love blossomed. Good things happen in Australia.
30-40.
And specifically in Sydney.
For some. Serve here. Likes the one out wide on the big points beyond Phau on that ad court.
Advantage. Phau.
That's a shot we haven't seen Federer use because he knows how quick beyond Phau is. Well done. Phau on the board. Third set. Federer. 2 sets to love and a break 2-1.
And by 2 sets to love.
All right, there he is, the man. Wally, you're a big fan.
Red Phau.
In Sam Stos's box yesterday, he's been up here dancing, putting on a show for the fans here. And trivia question, it is a tough one, this one. How many players in the ATP Tour top 50 play with a single-handed backhand, Wally? Trivia answer. 9 players. Federer, Almagro, Gasquet, Wawrinka, Kohlschreiber, Haas, Yuzny, Lopez, Carlos Belloc.
I think that would have stumped quite a lot of people, wouldn't it? Because he has just snuck into the top 50. He's basically been a challenger player.
9.5 single-handed backhands if you include Song, who sometimes takes his hands off.
Badger, the Badger.
The racket. Also Yuzny, he's got a... Yuzny you throw in there as well. He's got a funky backhand where he sort of takes it back and releases it upon impact. So 9 out of the top 50, it's not a lot.
When you look at those 9, they're all incredibly good backhands, aren't they? And it has to be.
And our statistician, Guy Tassell, has had us racking our brain in the women's top 50. How many women in the top 50 have a single-handed backhand? We'll have
Love 30 once again. Federer a little.
We'll have to leave
trouble.
that question to our expert Alicia Mike when she steps in for the next match. So how many women in the top 50 have a single-handed backhand?
15-30.
One played today. Is she in the top 50? Suarez Navarro.
She's been in trouble. Powell's done a good job. He's got to love 30, 15-30 a few times, but he just cannot get a break point.
There was a question, we got a tweet about is Federer having a great service day, or is Phau a little bit off? I suppose, well, Federer is serving brilliantly, but I suppose Phau is not a tall man. He doesn't have a tremendous reach to his detriment. Reach certainly helps on return. Foot speed is not relevant.
I've asked Federer the question, who are the quickest players on tour? He's actually said Bjorn Phau is the fastest on tour. That's what he thinks. He thinks Bjorn Phau is faster than Rafa.
Faster than Djokovic.
That's what he thinks.
Faster than David Ferrer.
I think not, but he has great respect for his speed.
Smart volley right here. He could sense that Phau was anticipating the drop volley, and once again, Phau looking for the short ball.
Clinic.
Game
Putting
Federer.
on a clinic. Yeah, that is such a hard shot, the way he plays it.
I love the way
Federer
that not only does he
leads
cut
3
under the
games
ball,
to
but he
1.
just brushes across the side of the ball. So when it does land, it's every revolution it's spinning towards the sideline. It makes it even harder to track down.
Love 15. Love 13.
Hasn't he volleyed well tonight? When he can't stick that volley or put it away, he's volleyed to position beautifully to get the next volley. Look at this, pushes it back deep. And that is just athleticism. Just a pure, clean, high backhand volley, the hardest shot in tennis.
It's all about timing, isn't it? It's just a wrist snap. On impact, perfect timing. Three break points.
Put a bit of heat on that one.
15,
Bit of extra kick on the second serve there from Bjorn Phau. He's attacking forehand. Roger Federer. Beautiful to watch. 6-2, 6-3, and now leads 4 games to 1, third set. So Bjorn Phau, I think, is resigned to the fact that it's probably going to be an early night. He's played pretty well, but has had no reward on the scoreboard. It's been a shellacking.
He's played fine. He's played right to the limit of his abilities, and he's tried awfully hard. He hasn't lost hope at any stage of the match, but Federer's just got too many ways to win points. And any time he's been in any sort of trouble on his serve, he's just served his way out of it. Phau hasn't been able to get into those points to contest them. Great shot there, that camera that...
Spider cam, they call
Spider cam. All those cables that track it around the stadium.
I think they had it. Did they have that at the State of Origin? I think every time Greg Inglis goes over and scores, they show him.
I think they had it at Homebush, but not at Suncorp. I don't think they had that technology up there.
15 love.
Set up by the serve.
Just out of nowhere, you see a heavy kick wide. Just always thinking. I can't remember a match when I've seen him serve volley this much in recent times.
No, because the stat of net points, that just covers everything. You can be dragged in from a drop shot. That counts as a net point. It's just how many times you're up at the net. But you're right, you serve volleying. Look at that serve. I mean, that's ridiculously good.
And the angle from the forehand.
This is like a clinic. It's an exhibition.
Federer
And here he goes.
leads
He's going to go
5
change
games to
rackets now for
Third
one
set.
game.
Even though it's lopsided, the crowd love it. They just see Federer do his thing, and
I think
they
everyone
can't get
loves it.
enough of it. That's where the serve dragged him. So what chance have you got? Bjorn Phau is not a tall man with a single-handed backhand. What chance have you got? That's all you can do, bunt to the back. No way!
Again.
Come on.
Hardest shot in the book. Roger Federer does it with ease.
His back will be almost completely to the net when he plays this shot. Look at that, a complete 360.
With power.
That's awesome.
15 all.
That's the best shot I've seen at this year's US Open so far.
That's certainly can't be far off it. I agree. Well held here. He had to try something. His confidence is high, isn't it? He's reading the play. He's enjoying it.
And you say enjoying it, and he must be, because everything's a bonus now, isn't it? I mean, to win Wimbledon again, his 17th Grand Slam title, and there'd been almost a 3-year hiatus for Grand Slam victories, and then to get the #1 ranking back, I mean, it's everything from here on in is gravy.
He's conserving a lot of energy, isn't he? You get off the court, hour and a half to play, 6-2, 6-3, 5-1. Well done, Bjorn Phau. Hasn't given up all night. Federer 2 sets to love lead and 5-2, third set. All right, so Bjorn Phau, he would have enjoyed it out here against his good friend Roger Federer. But certainly, it's a different level, isn't it, at the moment, how good these top 4 guys are.
Absolutely. There is a separation between the top 4 and the rest of the field. And we're talking about players with the ability of Thomas Berdych, Joe Wilfried Tsonga, David Ferrer. I mean, Del Potro, incredibly talented players, but there is definitely a divide between the rest of the field and the top 4. No question about it. I just can't believe how consistent they are. They are so consistent throughout the course of the year on all surfaces. Even, I mean, when I played, Sampras was brilliant, McEnroe was brilliant, but they really struggled at the French relative to the other majors. But the top 4 these days, they just take their game onto every surface and they're there or thereabouts.
Being very consistent, not only at Grand Slam level, but at Masters Series events. That's the tier, which is the 9 of them. That's Monte Carlo, Rome, Paris Indoor, Cincinnati, Toronto. They just sit just below a Grand Slam in terms of points. But they win all those as well. You know, those top 4 guys. I think maybe Thomas Berdych has won 1. And Tsonga has won. Thomas Berdych won Paris Indoor, and so has Tsonga. But outside of that, those 2 guys, the big 4 have won all those as well. So it's very hard to win.
Nadal just about wins every Masters Series on clay each year.
He does. So it's Roger Federer serving for the match. Before watching this, Roger Federer's performance has been impressive, as was Andy Murray's last night as well.
You lean towards Novak just because of the pace of the courts?
Pace of the
15
ball.
all.
I think it's a heavy ball. And
The
I
heady
think,
conditions.
I think the court's not playing too bad. I think it's actually, if anything, a good pace. Medium. It's not slow.
I think it's a fair pace because as we're seeing over the last couple of nights and during the course of the matches in the day, that it's giving players an opportunity to come forward.
13.
Quick enough to come forward and fair, obviously, from the back of the court.
I just think as we get down to the business end, you'll see longer rallies. Federer won't be able to come in as often against a Andy Murray or a Djokovic. So the rallies will get longer, the balls will fluff up, they'll get bigger and slower. And he won't be able to get up and hit through the court just like we've seen tonight.
That's in. He's made a few friends tonight, Bjorn Phau.
Yeah, he might go out and have a few beers with him to celebrate.
Have a look at this. Complete guesswork. A little bit of a shank. So he's off and running.
30 all.
Charges the smash. Catches the top of the frame. Brilliance from Bjorn Phau. And Federer was a little bit angry.
Tried to tube him on the full. Great to see Federer. He just loves it. He's enjoying the game, even before matches and throughout the tournament. You see him in the locker room. He just can't get enough of it. He's talking to the other players, watching the screen. He lives for it, loves it, and it's match point.
Game, set, and match.
Finishes it.